Hey, so I'm doing another video. It's drive time. So this time, no more rambling about Dungeons and Dragons or related type stuff. It's time to ramble about wrestling. WWE is on the road to WrestleMania, as they like to say, and this year they're doing a new event called RoadBlock. Usually they go Royal Rumble, another pay-per-view, and then WrestleMania. And that's kind of their three pay-per-view build to WrestleMania. And this year, really oddly, they added a new show, which is called RoadBlock. Because I guess, you know, they went the Royal Rumble, Fastlane, now they're at RoadBlock, and next is WrestleMania, because this is a roadblock on the road to WrestleMania. And yeah, so I was just gonna go run down, do my thoughts on it, and kind of do my predictions on what could possibly go down. First off, this is a really weird show, because the entire idea that I get from it is that it's like all of the plans they wanted to do for WrestleMania, but we're like, let's go in another direction. So it's like the crumpled up ideas trash can, and they went through that and they're like, you know what, let's make a pay-per-view out of this. So that's kind of what's going down. On the show we're having Bray Wyatt versus Brock Lesnar, Triple H versus Dean Ambrose, the New Day versus the League of Nations for the Tag Team Championships, and the Revival, which is Dash Wilder and Scott Dawson, and Enzo Amore and Colin Cassidy, and that's the NXT Tag Team Championship match. And yeah, like I was saying, it's kind of weird how they've kind of done this, because building up to the Royal Rumble, they were kind of going one way with a lot of things, and then post Royal Rumble, they're kind of going another way. So a lot of these matches kind of don't fit with what they were kind of doing at the time, but it's still kind of cool that we're getting the matches that we might not have had this pay-per-view not happened. So we'll start from the bottom. That's probably the NXT Tag Team Championship match between the Revival and Colin Cassidy and Enzo Amore. So, as I probably said a few times, NXT is like the B show for WWE. But it's kind of cool that they're actually getting a spot on a WWE special. And the match probably gonna be good. These two teams kind of have good chemistry. They are very opposite, so I think that's why they work. The Revival are kind of like, I'd say they're like generic wrestlers. They're like how 80s wrestlers were. Like, they're just like, I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna suplex you and I'm gonna punch you in the knee and stuff like that. Like, their whole thing is that they hurt people. They like just go after their knees. Like, they do really realistic kind of injuries to people. Like, they don't like do some kind of big 450 power bomb where they do like a backflip and then, like, you know, make you land on your shoulder odd. Like, they just like straight up will hold your knee down and just like stomp on it until it's broken. So that's kind of, and they're the Revival, because they're more classic kind of guys. Whereas Enzo Amore and Colin Cassidy, their kind of thing is that they're New Jersey kind of like street fighters. Like, Enzo Amore is the most bizarre little thing I've ever seen. He's like maybe 5'6", and he's just like, you could probably do yourself a favor and just Google Enzo Amore, because he just looks so odd. He's got like a giant plume of blonde hair with a black beard, and usually he'll have like cheetah print in his hair, and he's just like this little scrappy guy who they usually use just to have the shit beat out of him, and then like make the desperate final tag to Colin Cassidy, who is 7 foot tall, and you can't teach that. Yeah, they have an entrance where they like, it starts off with their music, and then Enzo comes out on the mic, and he has like a really deep voice for how small he is. But yeah, he like has like his little catchphrase thing that everyone gets to sing along with, and it's like that's probably more than anything what gets them over as like cool dudes is just how like charismatic Enzo Amore is. Because the best thing he ever said is that he was smack talker Skywalker and something like he's cool shit. Like they were in they did NXT London, and he pulls out a pound, like you know, a British coin, and he's like if I had a pound for every time I got my ass kicked and didn't get back up, and he like throws the pound into the crowd, he goes, I would have 0 pounds. Like just really cool shit. So that match will probably be really good. They're whispering that Enzo and Cass are gonna make it up onto the main roster here soon. So I would think that they're probably gonna lose here, and it doesn't hurt them to lose just because they are so over, and the Revival really doesn't have anything to them other than the fact that they have the belts because they are the champions. So yeah, that's my guess. I think the Revival's gonna win that match. Let's go to the next one, which I think will probably be another tag match. The New Day versus the League of Nations, which is a really, really weird match because it kind of got set up on Fastlane, where they did this really bad segment with the New Day just kind of talking to Edge and Christian for like 20 minutes, and at one point they just kind of started making fun of the League of Nations, which is just a bunch of foreign people in a group. Just go back to my Rusev video for all of that. But yeah, and they just kind of out of nowhere started being like, oh, the League of Nations sucks, which is weird because the New Day are bad guys and the League of Nations are bad guys. So I don't really know who we're supposed to cheer for. We're gonna cheer for the New Day because the New Day rocks. New Day rocks. That's their thing. They clap. The New Day started off as good guys when they first kind of came in, but it was a weird thing where they were like gospel-y, like, you know, like churchy kind of guys where they're like, you know, they're 3 black dudes, and they like come out going like, oh, you gotta be positive, oh, yeah, positivity, and they're just like really like cheesily upbeat, and it was just like, it all felt sort of racist because their theme song was like a gospel choir going, ah, 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 and it was just like, and everybody just kind of cringed at it, and like they didn't get over, and everybody just kind of like started like shitting on them, and their like main clap was like trying to get the crowd to go along with them. But then the crowd started like turning on them to where they would be, so anytime they would start clapping that, they would go, New Day sucks, New Day sucks. And like eventually WWE got on like, yeah, I guess doing fucking racist stereotypes is kind of a bad thing in this day and age. So they turned them heel, and it's this weird thing where anytime a character is like an overly nice person and they turn heel, they stay that overly nice person. They're just a shithead about it. Police. They're just like a shithead about it. And they did like really great backstage stuff. It's like everybody loves the New Day now just because they feel so much more genuine. Like, if nothing else, it feels a lot more like this is how these people actually are. This is like, and they do a lot funnier stuff instead of just being like, oh, we're so positive, like they won their tag titles to begin with, and they all came out with like champagne glasses full of milk, because you always gotta have your glass of milk, and like they just do all kinds of like hilarious shit, but you're supposed to not like them just because they're fucking assholes, and they are assholes. So like everybody does love the New Day, but they're bad guys, like plain simple. And they're going against the League of Nations, which right now has
Alberto Del Rio, Wade Barrett, or King Barrett, as he's being going by right now, Sheamus, and Rusev. I went over Rusev in the past. King Barrett is Wade. His name's Wade Barrett. He won the King of the Ring tournament, which lets you dress up like a king for a year. Basically, all that does, like, it used to be a thing where it, like, actually was worth a shit. Like, you would win that, you'd get like a future title shot. Not anymore. You just kind of get to dress like a king and get your ass kicked. Like, it means nothing. He's a pile of dog shit. Sheamus he just looks stupid, and he's somebody who, like, should be bigger than he is. Like, he should be like a bigger deal, but he just never, like, I don't know, he never takes the ball and runs with it. I feel like he just never has that, like, click. And he's like an Irish dude, and he's got like he just looks like a Celtic warrior. That's what they call him, the Celtic warrior. He's got like braids in his beard. He's got a big mohawk. And then Alberto Del Rio is a guy who his gimmick is so silly. Like, he was a Mexican aristocrat, and he came to America, and he's like, I hate America. I'm gonna be a rich Mexican guy. And then he turned face, and everybody liked him, because why the fuck would I like some rich Mexican dude? Because America's racist, I suppose. And then he quit because someone backstage was making racist Mexican jokes, so he slapped him in the face and quit. And he kind of reinvented himself back on, like, the indie scenes in a show called Lucha Underground. And then he came back, and everybody was pretty fucking pumped. Because they're like, dude, this guy, like, when he left, he, like, became, like, a big deal. Like, he gained a personality, and he gained charisma, and he, like, got intensity. And we're like, oh, we're gonna get that guy, because he came back to WWE, we're gonna get that guy again. Not really. It's kind of the same old with him now. He's very one note, he's very bland. He's just, like, now he doesn't even have, like, his rich guy gimmick. He's just a Mexican guy in the group. So yeah, like, the League of Nations is just kind of a bunch of guys they don't know what to do with, who happen to be foreigners. And now the New Day, who's actually pretty popular, is going against him. But still, the New Day are still supposed to be bad guys, and the League of Nations are supposed to be bad guys. So in the perfect world of where we really do only cheer the good guys and boo the bad guys, really this match should just have only boos, or we shouldn't give a fuck who wins because they're both assholes. I mean, I want the New Day to win, and I think they are going to win, because, like I said, the League of Nations is just a pile of dog shit. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't get what's happening with that match. It's weird, and yeah. Next match is Bray Wyatt versus Brock Lesnar. It's a weird thing where Bray Wyatt should really be, at this point, he should have had at least a championship run with any kind of belt. He should be something, because he really does have, like, when I was saying Sheamus never, like, clicked, Bray Wyatt does click. He clicks really well. Just for some reason, every time he's in, like, a really good feud, a really good, like, program with somebody, WWE has him lose. So I guess I should kind of try to explain his character. He's basically a cult leader. He's like kind of like a Charles Manson kind of dude, except he actually has superpowers. We're not really sure what those superpowers are. They're pretty vague, but he has some kind of, like, hypnosis, teleportation power, and apparently he can harvest people's souls. He says he can do it, so I believe him, because he's this big fat dude with, like, a big beard, and he talks really weird. He'll just all his promos are him, like, either him standing in a back room with a bunch of
mist floating around him, or he's standing in the middle of the ring just being like, I've seen the devil, and he looks like me, so I took his hand and I walked through the valley, and I saw it. I saw you, and I'm gonna take you down. Run! And then you just see the run up. The screen goes all fucked up and weird. And he's got 3 other dudes with him, and that's the Wyatt family. And it's Luke Harper, Eric Rowan, and his newest guy is Braun Strowman. Except for Luke Harper, all of those guys, or I guess Braun Strowman and Eric Rowan, are just like they suck. They're just the big guys. Except Braun Strowman is fucking gigantic. Like, he's like the height of the Big Show, except he's actually like muscular and fit. He's fucking massive. So like, yeah, that's kind of like his entourage, and they go around like killing people. They just beat the living shit out of people, and like that's kind of like what they'll do is like, when they don't have anything for someone else to do that they want to look good, they'll have them fight Bray Wyatt. So like, whenever they're like, well, we don't want to have Roman Reigns do this thing yet, let's have him go fight Bray Wyatt. Or we don't know what we want Ryback to do, let's have him go fight Bray Wyatt. So like, it'll just be in the middle of a random thing, and then like the screen goes, and then it'll go all black, and then it'll, and it'll come back, the lights are all back on, and Bray Wyatt and the rest of the Wyatt family are standing in the ring staring at this dude, and then they just all start kicking the shit out of him, and like they do like some kind of weird like oh, we've done it, like kind of hand signs, and then like the screen goes off, and then like the rest for like another month we just have Bray Wyatt standing on the camera just babbling incoherently about how he's gonna eat the world, and how the other guy's a fool, and how he's gonna save them, and how he has so much power. But then when it comes down to it, he loses. Like we'll get this whole month of him building up, like just kicking the shit out of this guy, and then he comes to the match, and then he loses. Like, so we really lose out on whatever menace he's supposed to have. Like his very first time he came in was really good, because he came in and he beat the living shit out of Kane, who was another really big fucking dude who like breathes fire. Like they literally call him a demon, like he is supposed to be from hell. He burned his parents alive, and just he's a fucking monster. And he came in, he beat the living shit out of Kane, and then he had a match with Kane in an Inferno match, which is like, that's Kane's deal, it's fire. And he beat him in it. Like, so that sets the bar. Like, alright, this guy just came in, like, said all these really weird, like, this really weird cryptic promos, but it got me, like, wanting to know what's gonna happen next. And then he beats Kane in his own match. This guy's something. And I hate to always jump onto this guy, but I feel like it all went downhill when he fought John Cena, because they didn't know what they wanted Cena to do, so they had him fight John Cena, and he does all the things I just said with John Cena. He fucking just jumps him out of nowhere, and then they get a match at WrestleMania, and he loses. And then they have a match at Extreme Rules where he wins, except it's only because John has such a good heart and kind of basically let him win. It was a big fucking weird thing where there's a cage match, and the fucking kid appeared in the middle of the ring, and John Cena's like, what the fuck is happening? So then Bray Wyatt just kind of got out of the cage, because if you leave a cage during the whoever can escape the cage in a cage match wins, and that's how Bray Wyatt won. But it's whatever. And then they had another 2 matches, I think, that end with the literal physical burial of Bray Wyatt under a bunch of shit. And if you don't know, burying is when you like beat someone so completely that they just look like fucking like an idiot. Like they don't have any credibility to them. And that's what happened. Like this fucking monster of a man has another 2 other fucking monsters with him because he didn't have Braun Strowman yet, and they still can't beat one fucking dude. Like it just makes them look completely stupid. And just basically ever since then, they've just been spinning their wheels with these guys. They like broke them up and they've brought them back together since then. But yeah, like they just keep doing this thing where they will show up, they'll fight somebody, and then they lose. So there's no menace to this guy, but he is fucking menacing. Like if he won all his matches, that'd fix the problem because everything else is fine. When when he's in the match, he fucking wrecks people. He just doesn't ever beat them. It's just like, imagine if this was like MMA or something like that. It's really dumb and embarrassing, but it's like if like the bell rings and this guy charged across the ring and just kicks the shit out of the other dude, like for fucking the entire round. And then like the bell stops and then it goes into the next round. This guy comes over and kicks the shit out of this dude. And the bell rings for the next round. And in the final round, the guy just like goes over and like lets down his guard for a second. The guy hits an unlucky shot and knocks him out. And then knocks out the first dude. Like this guy got the shit beat out of him the entire match, but then he still won. That's how all his matches usually go. Is that he'll kick the fucking shit out of somebody, and then the person just beats him at the end. And it's like that's what undermines him more than anything, is that he loses. Not that he isn't good, not that he's not actually like a menacing threat to people. It's that he loses. So none of these like all these things where he's like, I'm gonna harvest the soul of the Undertaker when he was fighting the Undertaker, because he beat the shit out of the Undertaker and he carried him off, and like he's like, I've harvested the soul of the Undertaker, and he does like the Undertaker like pose, and lightning comes out like the Undertaker does, and it's like, holy shit, he actually has Undertaker's powers now. And like this would be a perfect way for him just to keep winning matches. Like he literally has the power of the Undertaker. Like he is like reinvigorated, and he's gonna can win from now on. Next week Undertaker comes out and beats him. The fuck do you do? And you have him coming against Brock Lesnar, who is a fucking monster. He's the kind of person who will punch a tree and it'll turn into a book full of screams. Like he is like fucking Brock Lesnar. Like there's like and like get a Chuck Norris quote and replace it with Brock Lesnar. That's how WWE books Brock Lesnar. He is a fucking animal. They had him. This is how this thing came about. They had Brock Lesnar go into the Royal Rumble this year, which was fucking heaven. Like, I was like, this is gonna be goddamn amazing. Seeing Brock Lesnar just beat the fucking shit out of like 10 people. But they actually didn't have him in that long. But he was in there long enough to fight the entire Wyatt family who was in the match. I think it was like Eric Rowan and Bray Wyatt and Braun Strowman were all in the match whenever Brock Lesnar comes in. And Brock Lesnar, true to his fucking potential, comes in there and like uses his fist the same way most people use their fucking car and just starts wrecking into people. Just fucking clobbering people. And, you know, German suplex for days, suplex city bitch. And he comes to Braun Strowman, who, like I was describing, is like 7 foot tall, all muscle. Like Game of Thrones of the mountain. Like he looks like fucking Gregor. Like massive dude. And his the thing Braun Strowman is that he never shows any physical pain. Like anytime he gets like hit, like he's like, oh, I feel no pain. Like he just kind of like stands there all stoically because he's supposed to be like autistic or some shit. I don't even know. He's just some big dumb fucking strong dude who like never gets actually hurt and can have to outsmart him in order to beat him. So like he usually gets counted out or like rolled up or something like that. He never usually gets like beat because somebody like was able to like overpower him. So then he comes against Brock Lesnar and he tries that shit. And Brock Lesnar showed him the error of his fucking ways. a great moment where like Brock Lesnar comes and he clotheslines this 7-foot dude. Brock Lesnar's tall, but like you can still see the height difference between these two guys, and like he clotheslines it, and Braun Strowman does that thing where he's like gets hit and he's like, oh, it does not hurt, and Brock Lesnar goes, motherfucker, you think you're gonna do that to me? Bounce off the ropes, does it again, and like Braun Strowman's like, it doesn't hurt, and fucking Brock Lesnar comes at him like he's like a fucking linebacker, like just seeing that like quarterback like open, or I guess I should probably say more like a fucking lion jumping on a goddamn wildebeest. Just like knocks him off, like Brock Lesnar knocks Braun Strowman off his feet down to the ground, just like, oh, just like a fucking tree falling over, just doosh. And the rest of the match, Brock Lesnar was like, I don't know if he just wasn't aware that that was Braun Strowman's thing or what, because he seemed like in real life offended that like somebody wouldn't like take offense from Brock Lesnar as like murder, like how everybody else does. So like the rest of the match, he was just kicking the shit out of this poor dude who's only been wrestling probably 6 months. Like he's just victimizing this poor guy. And he throws him out of the ring, and he throws out the rest of the Wyatt family except for Bray Wyatt. And then we have like a moment where all of the Wyatt family just jumps back into the ring and like gangs up on Brock Lesnar and like throws him out. And it was this weird thing where everybody's like holding their breath like, oh, they just fucked over Brock Lesnar. You don't do that. Oh, Brock Lesnar's gonna get this guy back. And he just kind of wandered off. And everybody was like, oh, I figured, you know, the self-proclaimed god of violent retribution, that's what fucking Paul Heyman calls him, and it's fucking great, would have like, you know, came in and, you know, gave off some violent retribution. But he never really did, and we thought that was going to build towards a match between Brock Lesnar and Bray Wyatt for WrestleMania, and then like the next night on Raw, Dean Ambrose was the guy who was kind of, or I guess at Fastlane is when they were starting to build up the tension where it was going to be a Dean Ambrose versus Brock Lesnar match at WrestleMania. Because like Dean Ambrose is a fucking cockroach that you can smash all you want, but he's not gonna actually die. So it offended Brock Lesnar and shit. So they're having a match at WrestleMania. So we were just kind of left going, well, I thought you were kind of going to do something with Bray Wyatt, but okay. And
new message.
So yeah, where was I kind of lost train of thought. So yeah, this is why I was saying, like, I kind of feel like this is like a scrapped idea. So now we're getting the Brock Lesnar versus Bray Wyatt match that we were kind of thought we were going to see at WrestleMania here at RoadBlock. But they haven't built towards it. Like, they haven't, like, they just kind of announced it. Like, they're like, oh, by the way, they're going to fight each other. It's like, oh, okay. But they haven't, like, had me, like, Bray Wyatt hasn't done that thing where he stares at the camera and babbles like, I'm gonna be Brock Lesnar, I'm gonna fight him and I want to win. Like, they haven't done any of that, so it's just this random match they kind of have. I mean, I can't wait to see it. I kind of hope it's a little bit more back and forth than most Brock Lesnar matches that he's had, just because I feel like Bray Wyatt is one of those guys who can believably do it, because he's like a big dude who like hurts people. But I don't, like I was saying, they haven't done anything with Bray Wyatt to make me think there's any possible way he could win. So it's definitely going to be Brock Lesnar. And the last match we're having is the WWE Championship match with Triple H versus Dean Ambrose. And this kind of all started at the Royal Rumble too. The Royal Rumble was an entirely Roman Reigns centered event. It was the Royal Rumble one versus all, where Roman Reigns was the WWE champion at the time, and you're going to have him defend it in the Royal Rumble. So whoever wins the Royal Rumble is the WWE champion. And they just kept, like, it was just, I don't like Roman Reigns, and they keep wanting me to like Roman Reigns, and I'm like, come on guys, I don't want to like Roman Reigns. And they're like, come on, he's so relatable, look how pretty he is, those big Samoan muscles. He's such an underdog, he's got all this He's got all this stuff against him. Look at all these odds he has to overcome. He has to win the Royal Rumble to keep his championship. He's got to fight 30 dudes. I'm like, well, I mean, really, he only has to fight however many people he has to fight in order to finish the match. So if he comes in 15th, he only has to beat 14 people. And they're like, oh, well, let's do a thing where we screw him over and have him come in first. Because, like, they did a thing where they were like, oh, randomly, let's see who comes out first. And, oh, it's going to be Roman Reigns. How interesting. So they were literally going to he was literally going to have to go through 19 or 20 other people. Which he didn't even fucking do, but that's a whole nother goddamn rant. But, yeah, it comes down to, like, the final 4 people. And I think it was, like, Bray Wyatt, yeah, it was Bray Wyatt, Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, and Triple H. Triple H came out to fucking thunderous applause. Like, this guy who literally, I think, for 3 years has done nothing but be a fucking scumbag. But because people hate Roman Reigns so goddamn much, they're like, yes, Triple H is in this match. Triple H is literally God. He is not gonna fucking lose right now. Because like that was everyone's prediction, was that Triple H was going to come in and win it himself. Because he doesn't wrestle full time. He's the authority figure. He's like the Vince McMahon right now. Turning it. And so yeah, he comes out and he as Roman Reigns is dumping out Bray Wyatt, Triple H runs up behind Roman Reigns and dumps him out. So it comes down to Dean Ambrose and Triple H, and like I was saying, like, I don't want to watch, like, Roman Reigns. Nobody else does either. Because as soon as Roman Reigns goes to that top rope, biggest cheer of the night was for Triple H. Because they're like, fuck yes, fuck that, Roman Reigns. And Triple H knows it. Like, because he starts doing the fucking DX chop, like, suck my fucking cock at 3 out of the ring, asshole. And, so it comes down to Dean Ambrose and Triple H. And they have, like, they kind of have a good back and forth. And it does this thing where it, like, really does, it feels right. It kind of clicks in a way. So people kind of were like, well, man, I kind of hope they do like a Dean Ambrose versus Triple H thing, because eventually Triple H gets the best and throws Dean Ambrose out of the ring. And, like, that would be really good. Just because, like, Dean Ambrose is a really good promo, and he can talk very well. And, like I was saying, when you have two people whose, like, styles clash very hard, like, it works even better. So we have a build-up at Fastlane, which was a triple threat match between Dean Ambrose, Brock Lesnar, and Roman Reigns. Whoever won that would be the #1 contender. And during that, we kind of get promos where Dean Ambrose is saying how he's going to go beat Triple H at WrestleMania. And he does such a good job that everyone's kind of like, I'd rather see that than him versus Roman Reigns. Mostly because I don't want to see Roman Reigns anyway, but it helps that Dean Ambrose is just that good at, kind of getting the story over. So yeah, that's where we're finally getting here at RoadBlock, is like the night after Fastlane, Triple H comes out in like, cut out. We'll probably just put it up in 2 parts then. But yeah, I don't know where it might have cut out, but I'll just kind of start over. The night after Fastlane, Triple H comes out, all business up. He's got like the belt. He's like a corporate guy, like, oh, fuck this guy. And he kind of, he like is going, oh, I'm gonna be fair. I'm gonna give Roman Reigns a chance to show everybody what he's made of, because Roman Reigns won the triple threat match at Fastlane. So he's got a match tonight. So Roman Reigns has a match, and about halfway through the match, Triple H comes out, but he's not in his like corporate getup. He's in his like ass kicker attire, which is like a leather jacket, and he's got his hands all taped up. He's wearing fucking jeans, like he's about ready to come finally home. He's gonna come kick the shit out of somebody, and he did. He went down there and he beat the shit out of Roman Reigns. Like fucking destroyed his nose. There's a point where he fucking like he starts like just slamming his fucking head against like the the announce table, and like he pulls him back and just starts punching him in the face, like has his head like this, and he's just going like this, and there's just a point where you just see his fist come down, and you just see Roman Reigns' nose explode. Like it goes like normal face, normal face, normal face, normal face, fucking red explosion of fucking blood. Like kicks the shit out of Roman Reigns. And Roman Reigns has been off TV ever since that. So then to kind of bridge the gap, they've had Dean Ambrose kind of step in and be that kind of anti-authority dude who can, and Dean Ambrose can pull it off a lot more because he doesn't seem like he's like, when Roman Reigns comes out and cuts a promo, he's like, I do not like the authority. They are mean and they don't give the people what they want. And he just kind of goes over like a fart in church, basically. But whenever Dean Ambrose does it, it feels like it comes from his fucking heart. It feels like he really means it. So like everybody was like, man, yeah, it'd be actually really cool if Dean Ambrose fought Triple H. And I guess they kind of fucking agreed, because later that night, like Dean Ambrose was like, hey, you should give me a title match because I bet I can beat you. And Triple H was like, fuck you, you don't deserve that. And Dean Ambrose basically goes, yeah, you don't have any balls anyway. So Triple H goes, oh, I'm going to fucking kill you. And kicks the shit out of Dean Ambrose, basically in the same way. Dean Ambrose has a match about halfway through. Triple H like has like 4 other dudes go down there and beat the shit out of Dean Ambrose. And then he's like, he does like a pedigree to Dean Ambrose. And he goes, oh, I accept your match, by the way. And then like drops the microphone next to Dean Ambrose like fucking carcass and starts walking out. And Dean Ambrose like drags his fucking limp form to the microphone. He's like, hey, Honor, thanks. And Triple H's like, you cheeky motherfucker. And just like rolls up his sleeves, just comes down and just kicks the shit out of Dean Ambrose even more. And like, it's been so well done. So, and I'm really looking forward to that match in particular, because I feel like it could be a fucking great match. And I'm glad they didn't like end up skipping over it, because just even at the Royal Rumble, that kind of whet the appetite for that match. So, yeah, but I don't see Dean Ambrose coming out with the belt unless they do a lot of fuckery, like unless they're just like, you know what, people don't think Dean Ambrose can win, like. People don't think that he's going to win because we already have all this other stuff set up. Let's just fuck with him. Let's just have him win, and we'll figure everything else out later. Like, I don't necessarily want that to happen, but I kind of do, just because that'd be cool. And I'd be like, oh, I wonder what's going to happen next. But yeah, that's basically all. This entire long video. So, gonna go inside. I'm gonna take a nap. And I'll see you guys some other time.